All right, guys, happy team call night. I am going to just go ahead and introduce Brittany. So Brittany is a friend of mine that actually I really looked up to a lot as a new partner. She was absolutely crushing it in her business at the time with Body. And I think we connected through the test group that I did with a partner underneath you. Yeah, my first test group with 30 Day Breakaway. And hold on, have a person ask for the password. Okay. Um, and the rest is kind of history. We just kind of, yeah, Annie, and we just connected ever since then. So since then, though, you guys, Brittany has really just taken off with her sisterhood. I am obsessed with her podcast, the Self-Care Sisterhood, and she just is a firm believer in not doing life alone. Like you shouldn't feel alone in anything that you're doing, whether it's a health journey, wellness journey, mindset journey, entrepreneurship, whatever that looks like for you, you shouldn't be doing it alone. So I'm really excited. Very, very excited that Brittany is coming to talk to us about belief tonight. And literally everything's free game. Brittany is awesome. She will answer your questions after, I'm sure. So I hope you all enjoy this because this is going to be great.
I'm so pumped. Can you quick enable share for me? I
Yes,
tried it and
got you.
yeah.
There we go.
Oh, that's not the slide we want to start with. Oh my gosh, we're off to a great start, you guys. Well, happy, what is it, Wednesday? I almost said Monday because my team calls, whenever I hosted team calls, they were on Mondays, and that was like it just rolls off the tongue. Happy Monday, but it's Wednesday, so happy Wednesday to you guys. I am Brittany. My name is Brittany Frost. I'm really excited to talk to you guys today about building belief as a partner, but I think that a lot of times, at least when I was a partner with Beachbody or Body, gosh, there would be people that would come on to calls like this, and I would see all their accolades, I'd see what they've done, but like, gosh, like I just didn't understand the process to get there, or how like they stayed in the process for so long. So that's really where I want to pour into you guys tonight. One of my superpowers is staying power. One of my superpowers is that I'm a tortoise. I was never a hare, like I was never the rabbit, the fast bunny in Body. I wasn't the quick success that maybe you might see on something like a national wake up call or on stage, right? I was slow and freaking steady in my race, and it was my own race. But I really want to. I titled this "The Prize is the Process" because it's so easy, and especially a business like this, to always be on pursuit for that next mountaintop, that next accolade, that next like goal that you're trying to reach. And tonight I want to pour into belief in yourself. I want to help you pour belief into just what you're doing as partners because it's so powerful. And I also want to pour belief into the process for you. Okay. Can you guys tell me in the chat really quick what inspired you? Like, what was that thing that you saw that inspired you, that told you, you know what, I want to be a partner? What was the inspiring thing? Was it a person, a specific person? Can you describe in detail what was inspiring about them? Was it more about the journey of being on your health and wellness journey? Were you inspired by the opportunity to maybe leave a job that no longer serves this version of you? Could you just get really vulnerable and share with me in the chat, what was it about this opportunity that made you say yes to being a partner? And I'm going to tell you guys this as we go. I'll remind you, but I was my very first job out of college. I was a school teacher for 10 years prior to doing Body. And so I love seeing your faces. If you can, if you can't, I totally understand it. But I love seeing your faces. I love being able to interact with you guys because I you can't take me out of the classroom. Heather said, I didn't know it actually existed, but I loved what I was doing on my journey to become healthier. So I was compelled to share it with more women. I love that organic flow for you. Extra accountability. That's great. Jaleesa, is it Jaleesa? Did I say it right? Jaleesa?
Yes, you said it right.
Yay. Awesome. I saw a picture of a partner on Body website and thought, okay, this could be me. Yes. I love that, right? You see an actual a visual representation of the life that you want, and then you believe, you know what, if she did it, why not me, right? I love that. My partner at the time looked so happy all the time, and I was a stay-at-home mom who didn't realize it but definitely had PPD. Yes, April, I get that. I 100% get that. That's a little bit of my story. Felicia said, reaching my goals on my own wellness journey as a new mom and single mom, wanted to help other women like me. That's really powerful. Val, financial gains, yes, and amen. Do not be afraid of saying that, ladies, and the pure joy of helping people. Heather Green's voice, yes, on how much she loves this company. We're going to talk about that tonight. We're going to talk about the company tonight and belief in that, and all the benefits she gets with it, and how much she loves the company and the products, energy, accountability. Val, Nikki and Val are sisters. Is this true? We have fam in the house. I love it. My sister doing it and believing heart and soul in this, watching her do the workouts and sharing growth day. That's really, really cool. I love that. Okay, so a lot of powerful reasons. I'm going to take you guys way back for a second. I'm going to take you back because I was a body partner for 10 plus years. Okay. I still am a body partner, but my business has grown and evolved, and I no longer actively build my team. Does that make sense? So I still have a coach business center and an account, and I still get paid on Thursdays. Whoop whoop! Like, I love it, right? I call it my retirement plan. I built a business so successful that as I moved on and retired and moved into other things, I'm still able to bank on my retirement. So that's really fun. I still use the products. I still love the products. I still share the products. I just don't actively build the team and the business anymore. And I'll tell you why in a second. But and it's for good reason. So 10 years prior to that, though, I was a classroom teacher. Okay. I was in the elementary school system. And I remember distinctly sitting at my desk at the end of the day. The students had all let out. Any other teachers in the house who are like, who can buy with me for a second? Yeah. So the students, they all went to dismissal, done for the day. I'm back in my classroom, and I'm just exhausted. I'm exhausted, but it's not the kind of exhaustion that's like, I'm just exhausted from the work I did that day. I'm exhausted because when I sit in my classroom, I had this elephant on my chest that, is this it? Like, that's how I felt every day. Like, this is it. It almost felt, and this is no shame, because if you go to the classroom and you love your teaching job, love that. Like, please do that. But there was a stirring in my spirit that I was made for something else beyond the four walls of a public school classroom. And so I'll never forget this one specific day, same kind of thing. I got it to the end of the day. I was exhausted. I was wondering, is this it? Like, I went to school for this, and here I am, and this can't be it. It just almost felt like a toilet, like spiraling down. Like, that's what my life, like, this is just downhill from here, I guess, right? And I didn't want to feel like that, but that's how I was feeling. So I get home, I start scrolling social media, and that's when I see her. I see a woman that I knew in college. She was postpartum. She didn't know this, but I had been creeping her insanity journey all summer long because I was doing insanity. And when you start doing a program, what do? You like watch everybody else who's doing it, right? And so she was kind of like my online accountability, but she didn't know it. And she was exuding joy, you guys, like radiating joy. She had joy just like pouring off of her. And I'm like, how is she so joyful? Like, what's there to be so joyful about? Like, I was miserable in my life. And I wanted that. I wanted like a venti size of her joy. You know what I mean? And when it boiled down to it, I saw that she was doing something she was passionate about, and that she was serving and helping people along the way. And that's what got me started. I literally signed up with a credit card, could not afford the business fee or anything like that at that time. I'll also tell you this, I was very broke. I was a very broke teacher, okay? And I couldn't afford it, but I just grabbed a credit card and knew that this was my gateway to something else. And that's where my belief kind of started, was that is kind of similar to what you said. I saw somebody. I saw somebody radiating joy and I knew I wanted some of that. And if this could be my pathway to get there, heck yes, I'm all in. So I coached actively for 10 plus years. I was a lifetime 3-star in my first business center, diamond in all controlled business centers, hit Success Club 70 months in a row, 6-figure earner. I was actually, if you are up late at night and you watch or catch the 3-week yoga retreat infomercial, I am in that infomercial. Um, so I'm in that infomercial, built and believed in a team of leaders who duplicated my heart, my desire for impact, and systems for success. Those are like the accolades of my journey as a partner. But I'm a real talk person, and I know Heather is, so I bet you guys are too. What you also need to know is those insanity DVDs. Oh, by the way, they were DVDs. Like, I'm gonna go old school real quick because I'm like baby grandma here in this house. Back when I started, okay, first of all, it was called Beachbody. So please forgive me if I say Beachbody on accident. I don't want to say that. I want to say body, but just please forgive me if I slip. Number one, that's that. But number two, these sorts of things didn't exist. Do you know what I had to do to get on a team call? I had to get on a phone and dial up. Like, we had to dial like an 800 number and like join a call. So weird. Like, I don't even know how people joined back then. Like, it was DVDs and like cold calling. Anywho, I joined. But I will say, you guys, I bought my Insanity DVDs off Amazon. I didn't even buy them from a coach or a partner. I didn't even know. I just got them on Amazon. Like I said, I'd started my journey very broke and also very broken. That joy that I saw my friend exuding, I had none of that. And I was, Heather might laugh because she knows me a little bit better, but I was a very mean girl. Like, I was the type of woman that when you were sitting at a table with me, I was talking crap about everybody and anybody. And then I also know that when I got up from that same table, they were talking about me because that's the kind of circle I surrounded myself with. I was in a very low energy, low vibrational space in my life. And so no wonder I felt broke, right? And broken inside. I also, you should know this. I didn't sell my first total solution pack until 5 months into the business. It took me 5 months to get one person, and it was probably my mom, to believe in me and what I was doing enough to try. So if you're listening to this call today and you're like, nobody wants to join me or nobody wants to do this thing with me, I just want you to know it's normal. Like, it's normal. People are waiting to see if you're serious about this thing. And that's what they were doing with me. I also left the classroom to go full time with my business. I thought, like, this is it. I'm ripping the Band-Aid. I'm going full time. And I quote unquote failed. Like, when I say failed, I ended up having to get a job at Lululemon and Orange Theory Fitness to supplement my lack of income. And it was really degrading at that time because I went from being this like teacher in a classroom with a degree and like all this stuff, right? And now I'm like scrubbing toilets at Orange Theory Fitness. You know what I mean? And like, nothing against scrubbing toilets. I just didn't, I thought I was supposed to be this like top coach, right? Like walking on the stage. And it didn't go down like that when I thought it would. I faced debilitating depression in my journey. And I was never anybody that was on the national makeup call. I never hit elite or premier. There were seasons that I was quote unquote stuck at ranks. I dropped ranks so many times. I built teams up only to have them all leave and have to rebuild the team. And one day I remember distinctly waking up on a Thursday to a negative $17 paycheck. And that crushed me because I I didn't have the money to pay back the $17. I needed income, right? And so when I talk about building belief as a partner, and when I talk about the prize as the process, I want you to know that there is something being made in you right now that you can't see to fruition if you don't stick it out, right? And so today I started a podcast. I actually started getting this really visceral feeling towards the like end part of my time with body, um, that I wanted to help women in a much larger way beyond just physical fitness, you know? And I started really realizing that the women that I was working with that had the most success were the women like you who were here learning, growing, not just working on your physical fitness, but working on your mental fitness too, right? And and so I realized that there was a disservice I was specifically doing in my call, in my path. And here's the thing. When I signed up with that credit card and had no money and I was in a classroom and I didn't see how I would get to here, right? I knew that if somebody else ahead of me could do it, I could figure it the freak out, right? I could figure it out. And so my journey, I didn't know where I would get to. And I don't know where I'm going next, honestly, but I'm having fun with it and I'm leaning into my gifts and my calling. And that is what this opportunity gets to pull out of you. It gets to pull out who you really are, right? And so I always say that this business is really like a mirror. It's hard sometimes because you really have to look at yourself in all of this, right? There's so much self evaluation that happens, but it's so beautiful if you lean into it. So I want to talk about this idea of creating what you crave. It's one of my favorite mantras. It's something we say in my household all the time: create what you crave. You know, if there is something in this business that you crave yet don't have, you have the power to create it, right? And so a successful partner cultivates belief. They cultivate, we're going to talk about 4 different areas, but the company, the team, yourself, and the compound effect. And I'm going to break those down. But I tell you all these stories, and I'm giving you some really embarrassing pictures of myself from way back in the day to let you know that your lack of experience is not a reason to pull away or quit. A lot of times we're like, I don't know how to do that. Social media is so confusing. How do I go viral? How do I get people to like my stuff? The same people are watching my stories. Your lack of experience, I don't know what to post about, right? Like I could go on and on and on about all the things that, maybe you feel like you are lacking in the experience that you see other people doing quote unquote better, right? That lack of experience is not a reason to retreat. It's a reason to lean in. When I started my business, my upline, she did not place me in a challenge group because remember, I signed up as a partner. I went all in. I'm doing this as a business. She knew that right away. And so she didn't coddle me and she wasn't like, "Cool, I love this. Come join my, body group and let's do our journey together." She was like, "Cool, go run your own." And I'm like, how? And there weren't challenge group guides and things like that to go off of at the time. And so it was a lot of me just figuring it out, right? Just trying. At the time, and some of you guys might be feeling this, I had no business or marketing or sales experience. I was a teacher. So I'm like, I don't know how to do marketing. I don't know the world of sales. I was non-existent when I started on social media, meaning there was no Instagram account. And on Facebook, the only, like, I hated Facebook. I mean, do we all have kind of a love hate relationship with Facebook all the time, right? But like back then when Facebook was like not ads and politics, it was, I didn't like it because I didn't like people knowing where I was because it was a lot of like check-ins. Do you remember that? Like I checked in at Applebee's and like you're like, I don't want you to tag me that I checked in at Applebee's, right? But people did that. And so I was very non-existent on social media because of that, because I just felt weird that like people knew where I was all the time, especially as a school teacher. And at the time, I told you guys, I was insecure. I was not nice to other people. And I was taking the hurt that was inside of me and vomiting that all over everyone else. And because of that, I truly didn't have a passion for helping others. The reason I started this business, if I can be completely honest with you guys, was I needed money and I needed it bad. And I saw an opportunity to get more money into my life. It wasn't about helping others, it was about helping myself. And I don't know if that's right or wrong, right? I don't really have an answer for that, but I just want you to know that at the time I didn't care about serving the masses, but my brand by the time I walked away, and my brand today, truly is about not being made to do life or our journeys alone. And this is coming from the woman who just wanted to do everything alone, right? All I had, like I said, was an elephant on my chest that I was made for more. So I want you to cling to whatever inner voice you have, the positive one that's telling you that maybe this is possible for you too. Okay. Tonight we're going to talk about it, but being a partner is so, so simple. We make it so complicated. I know there's intricacies. I get that. Absolutely. That's what these nights are for. That's what these trainings are for. When you get to the nitty gritty and you can have maybe like a one-on-one with Heather or your upline and really talk about the business strategies, right? I get that. But at its base, at its root, you are on your journey, you're sharing your journey, and you're helping others say yes to their own. That's it. And helping others doesn't necessarily mean bothering others or bugging others, right? You sharing your journey is enough to inspire somebody to start saying yes to their own when they're ready, right? And I want you to know we all start as a team of one. Who here sometimes feels like, I'm never going to build my team. I'm never going to build it. It's just me. Hi, like it was me all 10 years, right? I felt like it sometimes, but I share these really embarrassing photos because this is when I first started, and I really love taking selfies with my Shakeology back in the day. So I don't know, don't recommend that now as a strategy, but that was me. Notice that I didn't even smile with my teeth. Like, it was closed mouth smile. And I noticed that about myself. Like, I just want to go back and like hug old Brittany. This is when PIO came out. Fun fact, I also got PIO certified. That was like super fun back in the day. But when PIO came out, I was like super, super stoked about that program. And notice again, these are DVDs. This is my very first Zoom call that I did with my team, and nobody came. It's just me. And then there were a lot of Zoom calls that my mom was the only one that showed up because, you know, that's not awkward, right? To train your mom. And then this is my very first gosh, I don't know if they're still super Saturdays, super Sundays or whatever, but there's you guys have events that are like, you know, the quarterly events, not like Summit, but the other ones that are closer to local spots. This was my first one that I went to, again, all by myself, right? But it has to start with you. It starts with me. It starts with you. And then when you show up long enough to build that belief in yourself, it will ripple out to other people. And let's talk about how. So there's 4 buckets of belief we're going to dive into tonight. And in the comments as I'm explaining these, I would love to hear which one you think you have locked in and which one you think is a little challenging for you right now, okay? The 4 buckets of belief: belief in yourself, belief in your team and the community you're creating, belief in body and the products, and then belief in the compound effect, meaning small steps taken over time will produce results, right? So which one of those 4 do you really know, like, okay, this one I've got locked in, like I really believe in this? And which one is hard for you to believe? I'm going to take a little poll here. I want to see where we're at as I break all these down. Heather's got the compound effect locked in. I love it. And I think I'm talking to all women tonight, it looks like. Yeah. Yeah. Struggle with me, Nikki. Yep. Myself is a little harder. Products locked in, team locked in. Believe in the compound effect because it's worked for me in the past. I love that, Jess. And I was saying, you know, I think we're all in good company tonight as women. I think this is a very feminine topic to talk about. When we talk about believing in ourselves, I think it's easy to believe in the other things, right? But when it comes to ourselves and having to look inward and like truly believe in ourselves, gosh, that is hard. That's really hard. But it's part of the equation. You have to have that bucket. Okay, so good. I'm seeing a lot of where it's really the belief in the maybe in the team or in the in yourself. Yeah. Got it. Okay, we're going to break these down. We're going to break these down. And again, this is a process. Like I said, right? The prize is the process. So you're not going to walk off tonight's call. You're probably going to walk off, I hope, a little bit motivated, right? Like maybe you're going to feel good after you get off this call. That's my whole heartbeat. Like I hope you get off this call and you're just a little bit more inspired to keep freaking going. Like it's that you just need that little energy boost, right? I hope I give that to you tonight. But I want to let you know that tomorrow morning you're going to wake up and like you're going to stub your toe. You know what I mean? Or there's going to be traffic or something, right? And that's the process. And so it's in those moments that we're not like on our summit high or our team call high that we really have to lean in. And that's where we have to understand that you're not going to, even if tonight you have a glimmer of belief in yourself when you didn't, tomorrow you're going to probably have to wash, rinse, and repeat. This is like a hygiene cleansing sort of thing we have to do all the time. So this is a picture of me in my classroom. Like I told you, I was a school teacher. So there's baby Brit, and then here's me today. And honestly, I don't know where I would be today if I didn't say yes to this opportunity and just keep going. Like I can literally look around my life right now and thank God for every piece of it, but know that I don't think a single piece of it would exist if I hadn't have said yes to a network marketing MLM style biz, right? And so people can knock it all they want. I am a firm believer in it because this has given me the foundation to do everything else in my life. because this truly is like a personal growth opportunity. It really is wrapped up in selling. So 90% of the time, though, I want to tell you guys, like, you can get dolled up for your team call, or you can go to Summit and have the dress on or whatever, matching shirts and everything. And those are fun mountaintop moments. Maybe your name gets, read off on the national wake up call, or you hit a certain rank or whatever, right? Your first paycheck comes in, your first sale. Maybe you finally hit that weight loss goal. But 90, and I won't even say 90, I think 99% of the time, we're living in between. We're living in between mountaintop moments. And I call them mountaintop moments because it's like that high, right? And so, what I want you to start learning how to love is the mundane, the unsexy, the stuff that's like repetitive. And you're like, this again, inviting again, posting on social again, because that is the process to get to those moments, right? You'll never get to those mountaintop moments if you don't learn how to love the mundane. And what I've learned about myself along the way, and all of the women I've mentored, is that when they start believing in themselves, it is almost always paralleled with their action. The women who are inactive, meaning not on their journey, not sharing their journey, not getting on team calls. This is none of you guys tonight, but you know what I mean, right? When you start doing that stuff, you don't take the actions. Well, of course, you're not going to believe that you can. Of course, you're not going to believe that you have what it takes. Of course, tomorrow it's going to be scary to post, right? The belief is built when you take the steps. We have this idea that it's like, I'll, I'll believe it when I see it, or fake it till you make it. But I truly believe you have to believe in you as you become you. So believe in her as you become her. That version of you that you're like, I know I have it in me to do this. You have to believe in her as you move towards her. And the only way you do that is with action, bit by bit, day after day. If you're the same person today as when you first began, right? When you first said yes, that's a problem. And I love you so much, but that's a problem. Because this, like I said, is a growth opportunity wrapped up in a direct and social selling business model. So if you don't lean into like you as a human, and like I said, take that hard look in the mirror, sometimes every freaking day, then you're never going to get there, right? And if you feel like you're really far off from that person that you desire to be, I want you to know that that's good news. That's good news, because now you have control over moving towards that version. Yeah. So sometimes we beat ourselves up about not being quote unquote there yet, but every step you take in the direction you desire, it's adding up. Back to like being a school teacher, we would put marbles in a jar. I don't know if school teachers still do that, right? Because kids are wild right now. But I'd put marbles in the jar, right? And marbles out of the jar. And I feel like all those steps you take, it's just adding marbles to the jar or pebbles to the pile. And all of a sudden you look and there's so much there, right? So that next big goal that you have, like, for me, if my next goal was, 5-star elite, I don't know, right? That was my goal. I was never the kind of person who could achieve that goal because I never grew into that person, right? And even if I got to that goal, the next thing I'd want to do, I'd have to grow into that version of myself. So if you're the kind of person that you're like, I envision myself with a team, and I envision myself with lots of leaders, and I envision myself with, all these women that have been impacted in their health and wellness journeys, mind, body, spirit, all the things, there's no arrival to her. You're going to grow into that. But even if you are surrounded by all the people that you prayed for and dreamed of, you're going to get there, and it's not going to be enough because there's never an arrival, right? So one thing I want to give you that I've been really marinating on a lot in my journey when I'm working on believing in myself, you guys, because I'm here telling you that I struggle with this too. When you're stretching yourself, you're going to lack a little belief in yourself, right? When you're stretching yourself, you're going to lack belief because you don't have proof of it yet. It's not proof positive. You know what I'm saying? But what's helping me right now is this idea of the gap and the gain. And let me explain. So the gap is where you are now and where you desire to go. And sometimes we look at that gap and it feels really daunting and it feels like a lot and it feels like we'll never get there, right? But the gain is when we look backwards and we see how much we've gained, how much we've grown, right? even if it's just been a short amount of time since you said yes and you've been consistent AF on your journey, that's gains, that's growth, right? So a lot of times we look so much at the gap that that's truly where like our suffering comes in my life. I know that especially I'm always looking like, gosh, this is where I want to be, this is where I want to be, I wish I could be doing this, oh look at her, she's doing that, and I think I could do that too, and I look at this gap and I'm so frustrated with myself that I'm not quote unquote there yet, right? But you're never going to believe fully in where you're going. So I want you to start looking for proof in the rear view mirror, which is the gain of how far you've come, right? When I look at a picture like this, I say, wow, Britt, look at how much you've gained, right? This is why I love side by sides and progress photos. It doesn't have to be with your shirt off or whatever. Like, I just love looking at what I looked like then and what I look like now, because I take care of myself, because I show up and take care of myself, mind, body, spirit, and I'm pouring into others and doing something that I love doing, right? And so I want you to have that same, I want you to have that same pride in yourself too, because that's how you build belief. Let's talk about your team real quick. Who here thinks of themselves as a leader? Who's a leader? Any leaders in the house? Did I glitch? Am I good? Can you hear me?
Yes,
Can you guys
I
hear
hear
me?
you.
Am I okay? Okay,
Yes.
cool. I saw everybody's hand, like I saw nobody's hand. Okay, yes, awesome. I saw nobody's hand. I was like, wow. And then I saw everybody's hand just like stuck. And I'm like, I think it's me. Okay, I'm the problem. It's me. You can hear me okay now though, Heather? We're good? Everybody's good? I'm okay. All right. All right, let's try this again. Who here thinks they are a leader? I'm a leader. I'm a leader. We've got a lot of hands. I love it. Who here thinks they're an influencer? Who's an influencer? I hate that word. I hate that word so bad. Okay. Because y'all have influence. Your family, your friends, your dogs, like your neighbors, your like the people you work with, your teammates, like all of you have influence. Every single one of you. The question doesn't become, do I have influence? Because you do. It's, how am I influencing the people around me? Right? It's not, do you have influence? Because you do. It's, how do you influence the people around you? Because people are going to duplicate what they see you doing, and there's never a better time to start practicing what you want people to duplicate than today. Do not wait until you have a large team to start practicing leadership. First of all, you probably won't have a big team because you've never practiced leadership, right? So in the direction that you want to go, when we say belief in your team, a lot of times, you know, my coaches or my partners, they would often think of like my team, right? But I wanted them to think about their team, who you're bringing in, right? So a couple things that, and you might not think you have any influence over the team. Like you might be like, oh, Heather, this is Heather's team, right? The Never Give Up crew. It's Heather's team. It's just me. Nobody's going to notice me. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. When people didn't show up live to trainings, they would notice, right? There's people that I bet you can see right now, oh, so-and-so's not on right now. I wonder where they're at. They've influenced you. They've been on enough times that you notice when they're gone, right? We notice when people kind of go off. You know that Homer Simpson like thing where he like goes into the bush and he like, when they retreat back, we know when people do that, right? It's because of the influence. We love having you around so much in the community. You make a difference. And so showing up to live calls, team events, like no matter who else attends, right? That's leadership. When I showed you that picture of me on my first Zoom and maybe my first 10 Zooms, I don't know, and I just recorded with nobody showing up, y'all, I was practicing. I was practicing for moments like this when I'd have a full crew, right? And I gotta, you know, speak at 8 p.m. at night when I'm like baby grandma over here. You know what I'm talking about? Like, come on now. So you're practicing for those moments. There would be times when I would host, you know, like a power hour or something where I would help my team work the business and nobody would show up. And I would be like, this is amazing because I need to work the business. So it doesn't matter to me if anybody shows up, right? So if you host a sweat meetup and no one shows up, doesn't matter. You needed to do it anyway. Plus, you're practicing being the kind of person that shows up, right? I want you to ask yourself constantly how you can contribute within your team and how you can collaborate, because these are ways you can practice your leadership as you build your leadership, right? Ask yourself what people need from you, right? Not everybody has the same gifts, talents, and callings. And that's what makes the team culture so beautiful, because we all bring a unique piece of the puzzle into the team that we wouldn't have without you, right? And so maybe your thing is books. Maybe you love the personal development. Maybe you're loving growth day. You love that part of body. You're like, I freaking love the mindset stuff, right? If that's you, could you host a book club? Could you start supporting people with their mindset, or maybe talk more about growth day? Or maybe the movement is what keeps you going. You love moving your body. This has like transformed your life and your energy, and it's done so much for you. Could you start having meetups or creating more accountability surrounding your schedule? Because a lot of times, we're coast to coast, right? And so a lot of times what works with Heather's schedule for the team might not work with your schedule. And so how can you step up and duplicate what you see being done, but in a way that serves you? So often I would hear, partners say, oh, I can't get on because, my time zone, I'm still at work at that time. And I'm like, well, why don't you host your own? Right? Or like, that's too late for me. I got to be done. Okay. Why don't you have an early bird meetup? Right? Like solution seekers. Maybe nutrition support is your jam. Could you do meal prep parties with the team? Right? What about community and team building events? This is what made my team so special. Was I didn't have like the best business skills per se, right? But I had really great skills of community. I really felt called to bring women together in community. And so I would do team building events. When I lived in California, I'd have people who were local go on hikes with me, right? We would do one year we did for the team. It was really fun, you guys. We got on Zoom. It was Halloween time. We got on Zoom, and I got this like Halloween cheese board class, and we just did a cheese board class together. It has nothing to do with moving your body and listening to Growth Day, but I freaking love a good charcuterie, and it's building my team. It's making people feel like something they don't want to leave. How can you make people feel like they never want to leave? Right? Doesn't mean that they have to sell 16 total solution packs and hit Success Club and get on the cruise and all these things, right? That's not what makes people not want to leave. It's the community, it's the team building. So what do you love, and how can you bring that to your bigger, broader team, or maybe your sub team if you're newer and starting out, right? Like I said, people have a hard time quitting something that they feel like they belong to. So how can you create moments for others to belong? Oh, I'll tell you a little bit about this too, because that's important. One year at Summit, we did an Emerald Plus dinner. If you were Emerald or higher, we had a dinner with you. And I had everybody write a letter to every other person that was going to be at that, telling them why they shouldn't give up. Like on their hardest day, what would you tell that person about them? And so everybody came to Summit, gave all of their things, gave all their little slips, and they had them personalized and folded up with the person's name on it, right? And I bought these little like dollar piñatas at Target, and I stuffed, you know what? It's so funny. I stuffed inside the piñata, we stuffed everybody's letter, and I still have them to this day of my teammates telling me what they love about me, why I should never give up, what they see in me, right? That has nothing to do with pressing play, drinking a shake, pounding your energize. That's just human decency. So, how can you create moments for others to belong? So, let's do a quick energy check, okay? I'm sure none of the ones on the right are going to be you. I'm sure you guys are all on the left side because you're on team call and all the things, right? But I just want to talk really quick about energy increasers and energy suckers, because as a school teacher, I know that one student could ruin it for everyone, right? You know what I'm talking about? There could be that. And if your child is that one student, I love you so much. Like, God bless your heart, okay? But energy suckers. Has anybody ever been in a room with an energy sucker and you're just like, you leave worse than they found you, right? So let's talk about what the difference is. An energy increaser in a team is somebody who takes responsibility and ownership over their journey. On the contrary, an energy sucker is constantly asking questions without doing research or trainings. Okay? Again, probably not you because you're on this training, right? But saying, how do you hit Success Club again? GTS, Google that stuff, my friends, right? Like if somebody's Googleable, like try that first, right? Everything is figure outable and everything's on YouTube. Okay, I promise you that. An energy increaser, they move themselves towards their vision and desires daily. And on the other side, an energy sucker is what I call a stick shift coach. You guys, have you ever driven a stick shift? Anybody ever been in a stick shift? Yeah, I could never figure it out. I stalled out, so I never really learned how to drive a stick shift. But if you were with me in the car when I was trying to learn, it was very like jerky, like stop and go. That's what I call stick shift coaching. You're like in full blast and then you like stop real hard. And then you're like, I'm back. And then I stop. And that's stick shift coaching. And that is not only exhausting for your upline to deal with, I imagine it's exhausting for you, right? That in like, I'm all in and I'm all out and I'm all in and that's an exhausting way to live. Way. It's just called consistency, right? Energy increasers focus on actions and they contribute, right? Our suckers, they don't really have goals. They're just dreamers. They wish for this, but they don't work for it, right? And not contributing, right? Relying too much on others to do the work for them or hold their hand, right? Like, I'm not going to do a power hour today, but if Heather does host one, then I'll do it, right? No, you have what it takes to do that, right? Energy increasers crave community and serving others, and energy suckers are really just wallflowers. They sit back and they wait. Energy increasers refuse to waste energy on those who don't see their vision, AKA naysayers, right? Anybody who doesn't see your vision. I love that there's sisters on this call tonight. You guys, I have two brothers. I'm the youngest. One of my brothers, he doesn't, whatever, like he's just kind of chill, right? So like he wasn't ever gonna really do anything. But my other brother, he's like a poker, you know what I mean? Like he likes to poke me real hard. I'm the youngest. And so he called Shakeology, he still does, poop juice, because his gut health is so terrible that every time he has Shakeology, it makes him poop. So that would be a naysayer, I would say. And that's my brother, right? Like my own brother, like would make fun of my poop juice on Thanksgiving. So if you have naysayers out there, you're normal, but like, why are you wasting your energy on those people, right? They're not in the arena. I call them nacho eaters. They're not in the arena. They're not doing the work. They're not on the field, like sweating and hustling, right? They're sitting at home eating nachos, watching through a screen. Don't entertain nacho eaters, right? On the other hand, an energy sucker is going to waste a lot of energy. And always be like, oh, I'm so worried about what Sally's going to say. I'm so worried about this, right? Energy increasers, you know them because they're enthusiastic, energetic, they're solution driven. And on the other hand, negative, pessimistic, and excuse driven. Don't do that, my friends. Energy increasers are coachable and self-motivated, and those suckers are only motivated by being pulled along. I tell you this because I want you to do a quick gut check on yourself. Where have you maybe found yourself sucking some energy sometimes? And that's okay. We all do that, right? Like, I'm not telling you to be a perfect human tonight, right? But I also want you not only to do a quick little gut check for yourself, but I also want you to understand as you're developing as leaders, what to look out for. Because the energy suckers will do the least production and waste the maximum amount of your energy possible. Let me say that again. The energy suckers will do the least in production in terms of building the vision that you have for your team, yet they will hijack and take all of your freaking energy. And that is a road to burnout, my friends. When you entertain and only work with energy suckers. You're going to have energy suckers in your circle at some point, but I want you to start in leadership really understanding how do you create more of an increasing ownership space and community for your people, other than maybe like a space where people just complain and give excuses, right? It starts with you. All right, let's talk about belief in body. Who here actually likes body? Does anybody actually like it? Can I get get a hand on a Wednesday. Yes, of course. I know you do. Has this enhanced your life? Show of hands. Enhanced your life. I love it. If it has not, okay, which I don't think that's any of you, but if it hasn't, you got to get results, right? Like, of course, it wouldn't enhance your life. Go get results. Follow a program exactly how it's designed and lean in harder to the community. Like I said, it's hard to quit something that you believe in and that you feel like you belong to, right? Reminder that belief comes through action. Remember when I said that earlier? You have to do the things to start believing in the things. So if you don't believe in body, you have to do more body. You know what I'm talking about? But if you do love body, which I think is most of you tonight, I want you to freaking own it and share it unapologetically. What's the last thing that you shared without a thought? Like someone came up to you and they're like, oh my gosh, I love your fill in the blank. And you said, oh my gosh, thank you. It's from Amazon or whatever, right? I want you to treat this the same. This should just roll off your tongue because you love it so much that it doesn't feel icky. It doesn't feel salesy, right? We make it that way. It doesn't have to be that way, right? Because there's a lot of people on social media sharing a lot of stuff and not worrying about what Sally on the internet thinks, right? Things that help me build belief in body and share it like unapologetically from the mountaintops is getting to events. Getting to events, 100%. Fully investing in all launches, being all in for launches, and trying everything and being a student of body. When I first started, I think I got, oh, y'all, you're going to love this. This is baby grandma. I'm taking you way back. Do you know what I got in my challenge pack? First of all, that's what it was called, challenge pack. Second of all, it was DVDs and it was T25 had just come out. So I got T25 DVDs and y'all will love this. The Shakeology that I got with it was called Greenberry. Has anybody been around long enough to know about Greenberry? It wasn't good. There's a reason it no longer exists. Okay. But I got Greenberry Shakeology. Okay. But that was my first pack. So when I got my second order of Shakeology the next month, okay, I tried Greenberry. The next month, you know what I did? I went online, I changed my flavor, and I got chocolate. And then that's all that, vanilla did exist. Then I got vanilla. And that's it. That's all that existed at the time. Chocolate, vanilla, and greenberry. Then they came out with strawberry in February. I got strawberry. Then they came out with the vegan flavors. So I started trying the vegan flavors, right? And so then cafe latte, then they did these seasonal releases and all the things, right? My point is this. If you bought a flavor of Energize, Recover, Shakeology, whatever, and that's all you've stuck with since you started, I encourage you to change your next order up. Try something else. You can't speak about something honestly if you've never tried it. The reason I can bash Greenberry is I tried it. You know what I mean? And if Greenberry was still an option today, I would still tell people don't get it. Like it's not worth it. You know what I'm saying? But I would say, oh my gosh, I love the freaking Snickerdoodle, Snicker cookie. Like that one's my jam. Okay. So you have to know though, you've got to try these things. So try everything and be a student, even programs. Whenever there's not a launch going on, I know we get stuck on programs. 645 is the one that that's my go-to. I keep coming back to Amwala. I freaking love him. But trying other things out so that you can speak about them and be more confident about them. Confidence is built when you try those things out because now you can talk about them. Okay. So a couple gut checks I'm going to give you. Have you tried Shakeology 0 grams of added sugar yet? If not, you know what you should probably do. Okay. Is Peppermint Mocha Shakeology marked on your calendar for October 1st? If it's not, grab your calendar, write it down, and get ready to order some on October 1st. How about Body Lava? Are you showing up and sharing it? Right? And here's the thing, you don't have to love everything. You don't have to love everything. But you should try stuff, at least sample workouts and things like that so that you can speak about it because you never know when somebody's going to say, you know what, I really need like a really fiery workout, but more like, Pilates, yoga, like just something fiery and intense that gets me going, but lower impact. And you're like, I've got just the thing for you, right? How about Belle Vital? Like I already know Heather's all about it, right? Are you already planning groups around hormone health? Are you already breadcrumbing that in? So when you talk about things, maybe when you're making a meal plan, are you focusing on gut healthy recipes, hormone healthy recipes? Are you doing your research on the back end so that when it does release, your audience already knows you've been talking about hormone health. They see the results you're already getting, and then it releases at Christmas time, and people are like, bam, I'm in. New Year's, new year, new me. I'm in, right? You have to start now. But this is how you build that belief in body, is by trying the freaking things and being a student of your craft. Last one. Do you have a Summit 2025 ticket yet? I know that there are not very many tickets as well, right? It's very sparse. So that's the other thing, getting to those events and having those tickets. And for me, I always mentored my team, you have to be all in, right? If you want all in kind of results, you can't have one foot in and one foot out. And like, you got to take divorce off the table. You know what I'm saying? Okay, let's talk about the compound effect. What is your staying power? What keeps you here? Like, why would you get on a call late at night on a Wednesday? Why are you doing these workouts? What's your staying power? Have you ever thought about that? If you know it, I would love for you to share it in the comments. But if you don't know it, I'd love for you to like write that down at the top of a blank piece of paper and take some time to journal on that this week during your morning routine. Like, what is my staying power? What keeps me staying on my journey? If you've never heard of the compound effect, first of all, Darren Hardy, it's an amazing book. You should read it. It's like literally, I think, the first book I read for personal development as a brand newbie partner. But basically, the compound effect is the strategy of reaping huge rewards from small, seemingly insignificant actions, right? So small choices plus consistency plus time is going to be your significant results. So this is where we have to start really owning, like, you know, our 24 hours in a day. Because a lot of times our staying power gets thrown off by this thing called life, right? And so building belief in the compound effect, so many times, you know, when women would come to me and they're like, I don't feel confident. And I'm like, when's the last time you kept a promise to yourself? Because confidence comes when we keep promises to ourselves. And the compound effect comes when we keep promises to ourselves. So if you want belief, you want confidence, you have to fully go into the compound effect. And this is where time management versus self-management comes in, because I don't know a single successful person who isn't busy. Anyone that you follow on social media who you're like, wow, their success is phenomenal. I love them, whether it's part of body or not, right? That person's probably really freaking busy. They don't have time management. They have self-management. They figured out how to manage their self, their schedule, their days. They know how to say no to things that aren't in alignment with where they desire to go, right? I also want you to make figuring it out fun. You know what I'm saying? It's not fun. This picture of me on the left here, I had gained 20 pounds after I tapered off depression medication, and it was the heaviest I'd ever been, and I just felt very, very, very uncomfortable in my skin. It was a terrible time. I had to figure out how to make that process to get to where I wanted to be fun, because this feeling wasn't fun, right? You can make figuring it out fun. And here's the thing, we're a culture of quit. Quit is so easy, it's so basic, it's so normal, right? It's so common. I want you to start unlearning the quit. Quitting is such an easy answer. It's the staying. That's where the magic's at, right? And like I said before, would it serve your marriage, right, or a relationship to be kind of in, kind of out? Probably not. So that's why we have to take divorce off the table. There is no plan B, right? With me, there was no plan B but keep freaking growing. And then when I got to my like proverbial like glass ceiling or whatever at body, I was like, there's something else God's laid on my heart. And because of these 10 years here, grinding and hustling and learning the skills necessary, I'm ready to move on and build this other thing. But I wouldn't have been able to do this, what I'm doing now, without the foundation of body. And so there was no plan B, right? I didn't know where the path was going to continue to go, but there was no plan B of just like quit and go back to life as I knew it. I was miserable in life as I knew it, right? I don't want to go back there. So what small, seemingly insignificant things are serving you right now? I want to hear it in the chat. We're getting so close to landing the plane, ladies. So in the chat, what are some small, seemingly insignificant things? The smaller, the better. that are serving you in your journey right now, whether it is in your health and wellness or in your business. Okay, Laura, thank you. I need them to bring pumpkin spice back too, because hello, like both and. I don't need one or the other. Like bring both. I totally agree with you, Laura. Tell us, what are the small things serving you? Jaleesa, consistency in what? Like your workouts? Like what are you doing consistently? Tell me. Growth day every morning. Yes. And journaling directly after.
I was just going to come on and say it. Just consistency with mindset, workouts, and nutrition, like all together as a whole.
So good. Yeah. You're going to see that the power of that compound effect being consistent. Workouts for Margarita and growth day. I love that this team is like sold out on growth day. You guys are my favorite. Powerful communication with my partner. Yes, Felicia. Thank you. This is so good. All right, I'm gonna dig a little deeper. What small things are you doing consistently right now that are not serving you? What are some things that you think might be holding you back? I'll go first. I have this like really weird like scrolling problem right now, and I never used to have it, you guys. Straight up, never. And I don't know, it's like the last few months, like I pick up my phone for no good reason and I hate it so much. And then I'm like, yeah. And then I'm like procrastinating. It's not serving me. And I'm like, whew. Felicia said her summer routine, making excuses. Not sleeping enough. Yep. And the boundaries with work, I get that. Yeah, I had to, and seasons shift, you guys. Like summer is going to be different than your fall season, right? Especially if you have kids at home or whatever that looks like, if your job shifts during those seasons, like vacation times, like there's just seasons shift. And one of the things, if you do end up following me or we get to connect on social or whatever, one of the things that I love so much is taking a vision at the top of the year and breaking it down into, basically I call it my create what you crave framework, but breaking it all the way down into actually accomplishing the thing that you said you wanted to do. And one of the missing links is that we don't take time at the top of every new season or quarter to actually see what's working and what's not. So I hope right now these pauses, like what I'm asking you to do, take to heart. Lack of sleep. I'm seeing that for a lot of us. Lacking sleep. Yes. And I don't know what season again you're in, because maybe it's uncontrollable lack of sleep. But if you do have some control over it, control it. Because sleep is, and that's something you can already start talking about as it comes to hormone health, ladies. Yeah. Because you need your sleep to help your hormones regulate. Not sticking to schedule, going back to journaling, opening up an invitation, regardless of the yes, no, go see it. Oh my gosh, I know. Scrolling. Thank you, April. We're in it together. We can keep each other accountable. Yep. And remember, we've got strategies now, you guys. We've got strategies for that belief, because the belief that you build in yourself. First of all, you guys, I had to do this because like y'all have a beast of a leader on this team. Like you have to know this, first of all. I was going back through photos because I was trying to see if I could find some photos of Heather, because back in the day we would swap team calls for each other. And so I have like, pictures from way back. Y'all, I have a picture of her, like literally this picture here. There's one from like 6 years ago of her doing the same thing with her laptop somewhere, like, where she shouldn't be sitting, but just plugged into Wi-Fi working anyway. Like, and I think the one I have is she's like in the middle of the road or something. I don't even know. Like Heather just works where she can get it done, y'all. Okay. But how do you build belief? It's the action. This is why I picked a really unsexy picture of Heather. Please don't hate me. It's a sexy picture. It's sexy because you're working. I love it, right? But this is like, if you're like, oh, I'd love to hang out with Heather. Like, it'd be so fun to hang out with Heather. This is what you're going to see her doing most days. Messy bun, like workout clothes still on, laptop in hand, doing the thing, right? And that's what's getting her to these other things. That's what's building her belief. Because I guarantee there's days that Heather wakes up and she doesn't believe in herself. But how does she believe in herself? Take a little bit of action, right? One thing I say is you can't beat the person who never gives up. And I want you guys to like really embody that. You can't beat the person who never gives up. So yeah, maybe I was never on stage, but like I'm unfreaking stoppable. Like I didn't need the stage, right? That's just like the fancy stuff. That's the cherry on top. What I built was so deep, and you guys are building that same thing here, which is why I'm so honored to get to speak to you tonight. So you on your journey, sharing your journey, inviting others to start their own. Your team. How do you build belief in the team? You serve, serve, serve. You lead where you are because you know you're going to need those skills when you get to where you want to go. So you practice, right? And you check your energy all the time. And if your energy just isn't there, don't log in. You know what I'm talking about? Like if your energy, if you are a sucker, you don't have to get on stories just yet. Like maybe go do a little growth day and then come back. Okay? How do you build belief in body? You get to events, you embrace launches, you try new things, and you're a student of your craft. And the compound effect, you guys, give it time, unlearn the quit, and reflect on your journey and adjust regularly.
First of all, that just almost made me cry. And I am like so impressed by the research you did too, doing and putting this all together. I was like, okay, Brittany. All right, guys, now is your time. I know like we're at an hour, but I'm like literally just like overwhelmed with gratitude right now. Like I really am. I like don't I have so many words because you know I like to talk. But I also know that if you guys have questions, I do want you to either drop them in the comments, unmute yourself, and ask Brittany like whatever you have in your head, because I mean I can rattle off a couple to get people thinking and started, but I would love to know like in seasons, right, in your body business where you did feel defeated, or maybe you weren't as accomplished or hitting the goals that you wanted to hit and things like that. What was your stay power? Like what was your stay power?
I'm a crier. First of all, you guys, like I don't know if you know Enneagrams, but I'm an Enneagram 4, so I'm a feeler, like I'm in my feels all the time. When women are like, I don't know the last time I cried, I'm like, I did like 10 minutes ago. And I say this because a lot of times this business emotionally rattled me.
Mhm.
In the sense that I'd have to like, if I was actually sad about something, I had to grieve it. I had to grieve, there were coaches that built their business up to diamond, 1 star, and then like were gone for no good reason. And I'd have to grieve like not only losing a teammate, but losing a friend. And so, first of all, allow yourself to feel your feels because it's valid. But one thing that helped me with my staying power was, like I said, I never wanted to go back. I always ask myself, like, what would life be like if I just gave up? And I don't usually like the answer. So I just keep going. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, for sure. I don't even want to like think about it. Like I don't want to reflect on what life would look like
Yeah.
if I quit. Cause no, I'm not her anymore. Like that's not what I'm willing to do. So yeah, I get it. Um, but I would love to know if you guys have any questions. I'm not looking to see if there's anything in the chat, but you guys feel free to ask whatever questions you have too. Otherwise, we will take a selfie and call it an evening, but it's your time. You're allowed to ask anything you want. It's a safe space.
Okay. Hi. I've got the children all up on top of me. Like, so the staying power is knowing that there is a community and there is a backbone. My backbone is Heather. Heather, she really is. She's my backbone. She will push and push and push and push some more to fight for this team right here. She will fight for us. And if I didn't have her, I'd have quit a long time ago. I would have. I'd have quit a long time ago because I kind of have. And she takes that fishing rod and she just reels me back in. And it's what you say, the season. It's that season. It's summertime. I'm a teacher assistant. And so I'm home with these kids. And it's like, I gotta find something for them to do. All they want to do is eat. And then we stayed busy. They're very active children. We play football, we play baseball, we do all the things. And so the mom becomes the mom. And so the me gets pushed aside. And so my stay is Heather, because Heather she's like, hello, where's you? You need you. And so that's where I'm at with it. So I'm working on that one part where I need to be poked, and I shouldn't need to be poked.
Yeah. Well, and Shannon, I love that you said that, because there were a lot of times in the beginning of my journey that I needed that person who believed in me before I could. And
100%. Yeah.
so I won't say that like that's not necessary. That is 100%. I love that you brought that up, because that is so necessary. Like, who's your Heather, you guys? Like, who's the person that you can partner up with, that believes in you, that can kind of, we all say we want accountability, but then when like ish gets real, we don't want accountability, right? We're like, leave me alone. I was trying to like hide, but that's accountability's love. Like, she loves you so much. She loves this team so much. And the people that are holding you accountable to the things you said you wanted to do when you were really excited, it means that they believe in you and that they love you, and cling to those people, because there's not many people in the world like that, right? I mean, truly, this is special. There's not a lot of ladies at 9 p.m. on a Wednesday night, like huddled up, growing together in a virtual space. Like, there's just not. This is so cool what we're doing. It is so cool.
Yeah. And I do want to remind you guys, I love you, Shannon. Of course, I love all of you. But I also want to remind you that eventually all of us have to find our staying power that's a lot more than another person. Like, you have to remember, and I think Brittany touched on this beautifully, the fact that like I stay because I know the power of the community, of the products, of what we have in front of us in our business, of the workout programs, of working on your mindset. I know that. And I know that hearing it from me all the time is kind of like, okay, Heather, like, cool. But like when I struggled last year, and I know I talked to Brittany about this in our interview earlier this year, I had to reach out to a couple of people last year and say, if I ghost, if I don't communicate, give me 24 hours and then find me. Like, if I don't show up for a day, I need you to reach out to me, because I know myself. I could easily retreat. I could easily say, bye, I'm done now. I'm sad. I'm going to cry. I'm going to go back to my old ways. I will do it. But I had to reach out to people that were also not a part of our team, partner team. And I had to tell them, you must reach out to me. And of course, people on our team also did the same thing, because that's what we've built here. But I also know when you are in like immense struggle, I was grieving, guys. Like, it was bad. It was really hard for me to show up, but I did. And then I would have people be like, hey, you haven't talked to anybody in 24 to 48 hours. It's time. Like, it's time. I don't care if you don't talk to me. Get on Zoom, do something. Even if you're just stretching, even if you're just sitting there, like, just like get on, because you're trying to disappear again. And sometimes, like, I know that can come across annoying, but I mean it with love when I reach out to you. Like, I mean it with everything in me, that I don't just like want you to think that I need you for the business. Like, I see somebody retreat and clearly something's going on in their life that they're not comfortable with sharing yet. And this is me just like loving you and telling you, all right, come back home. You don't even got to talk to me. I don't got to know the details. Like, just like do you. And when you're ready, we'll chat. But after that, like, I mean, really, guys, it's knowing what you have and how much your life can be different, that I ultimately want to challenge all of you guys to think of, like, with the workouts, with the nutrition, with the community, with the mindset, but also with the business. Because I think that sometimes our team really likes to emphasize everything but the business. With love.
Brittany, just I love the analogy with the tortoise and the hare, because I'm kind of living that and feeling that hardcore right now. But I guess, you know, when do you stop feeling like the new kid on the block? You know, I mean, I came in with a head full of steam, and I'm very much the tortoise at this point. But feel, you know, I joined in February as a PC and then a partner in March. So, you know, I'm 5 months in, showing up, doing what I'm doing, trying to share, talking to people, but feel very new and discombobulated, even though I'm trying to put the efforts in with trainings and whatnot.
Yeah. A couple things that come to mind for me. Number one, never. When do you stop feeling new? Never. But the way I mean that is, if you're stretching yourself and doing, you're always working and growing yourself and moving in a way that's like towards the best version of you, it's going to be uncomfortable because you're like, it's that stretching feel, right? So the new kid, the newness of like beginner stuff, often like to me, I never outgrow the beginner stage. I just am now a beginner in something new, right? So I might get these skills, but once I have these skills, now I'm on to learn a new skill. You know what I'm saying? And so that newness, if you're doing it right, it's probably not going to wear off because you're alive, you're living, you're putting one foot in front of the other. But I will say that, you know, first of all, I was a very slow starter. So I sold that first pack at 5 months and then it was like nothing. And then like I kind of hit emerald and then like nothing. And there were, my journey was so slow, but I really believed so much in where I saw everybody else going that I just figured it had to be a mechanic of what I was doing. And I needed to do it long enough to either, I don't want to say convince, because I'm not trying to convince anybody, but to really allow the people in my warm market to know that I was serious and that they could trust me. Because remember, I wasn't the person people would come to for living their best life back then, okay, and being their healthiest self. So I had to prove that people could trust me with their journey. So I had to really show up and be on my journey. The other thing is, I had to get honest about who I was talking to and find those new people, because maybe the audience you're talking to right now, that's just not how they know you. That's not what they go to you for. So they don't need that from you. That doesn't mean that there aren't people out there that do need your example, right? And I had to really realize that in the beginning of my journey, was that a lot of the people that I knew on social media were not ever going to be interested in what I was doing. And I had to find ways to branch out into new communities, to brand myself in a way where I knew who I was talking to, you know, what age group, what demographic, like just all the things, right? I'm 40 and I'm not a mom. So it was hard a lot of times for me to talk to women who were moms in their 20s because I can't relate. You know what I mean? Um, so or they couldn't relate with me because they're like, oh, it's easier for you because you don't have kids or whatever, right? So you've got to find your people. It just sounds to me like if no one's joining, you haven't found your people, and they're out there.
Oh, for sure. And I also like, I don't want to keep Brittany too long again, but I also know that when we talk about things like being the new kid on the block, I want to remind you guys, because all of you guys listen to Growth Day, okay? And Brittany just said a couple of things that immediately I was like, oh yeah, if you're expanding, you're always going to kind of feel like you're fucking up a bit. Like you know it's real. Like Nikki, we talked about this. Like if you're doing it right, like Brittany said, it should probably feel that way. Like it should probably feel like giving you a little bit of butterflies in your stomach and you're a little nervous. And I don't know, Brittany, if you know this term too, but like that, like you kind of want to throw up, like the puke goal situation is a real deal. And that is how I feel almost every day when I work because gosh, I'll be like, you know, like I sent in the chat, like rapid fire today when I was working my power hour because it wasn't recorded. And I was like, why are you not recording this? And so I'm like, she said this and she said this and she said this and she said this. And then I'm doing my own work and I'm like, holy crap, it's like a drug. Like it is like, but when somebody responds back and you're like, holy shit. Okay. Okay, now what? And it's like you always kind of have to like check yourself because even 5 years in, I still get that like gut feeling where I'm like, oh crap, what do I say now? Okay, I know how to do this. I'm equipped. I've been training. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm talking about. I get results. I do my mindset. I follow nutrition plans. I love our community. So I already know what to say. It's just going back to the belief in what you are doing and knowing that it could help change somebody else's life. Like that's really what it goes back to every single time. It's just like, I know what I'm doing. I got this. I know what I'm doing. Now, what do I say? Like it really is like, it hasn't at least gone away for me yet. So if it's supposed to, it hasn't. So I just want you to know, like, I might like have an answer that you don't know, or maybe Drea has an answer that Val doesn't know, and you asked Val and she didn't know, and neither of you knew, so you asked me. Guys, guess what? It's only because maybe somebody's learned a little bit more than you, but that doesn't mean that you're doing less than them. Never be too afraid of like just extending a hand and asking for help and asking the questions and calling me or texting somebody on the team or messaging in the chat and be like, I need help. What do I do? Like, or I'm going to now use that GTS phrase because yes, almost everything that anybody will ask me, I half the time don't know. I just Google it. Because that's how I had to learn. Like, that's how I had to learn. So I don't expect you guys to do anything different if I'm not available. So, and YouTube. Yeah. God bless YouTube. All right, guys. So let's call it a night. And I'm just still like overwhelmed with happiness right now. So let's take a pic real quick for those of you that are able, and then we will call it a night. Smile, 3, 2, 1. And yeah, I'm a mom. Can you tell? I'm like, okay, everybody just freeze. All right, guys, have a good night. I'm going to stick around here just for a sec. So if anybody has anything then just say, I'll be here. Bye, Britt.
Thanks, Brittany.
Oh, wait.
Fun.
Pass.
Did you stop